now. At the top of the hour at 11 o'clock, pro-Palestinian protesters were told to disperse from the campus at 11 o'clock tonight. And so far, those protesters still remain there on the campus. As you can see, that law enforcement officers in riot gear right there. Our crews are getting more details, gathering more information as well. But again, that is the scene that is starting to unfold in the last top of the hour at 11 o'clock when pro-Palestinian protesters were told by ASU to disperse. This has now been declared an unlawful assembly. As we mentioned, 12 News journalist Kyle Simchuk along with 12 News photojournalist Nick Perez have been in Tempe on the ASU campus for most of the evening, providing us the very latest and updates on exactly how the situation is unfolding. We want to go back now to Kyle live at ASU. Kyle?
Well, Jonathan, you're absolutely right. We want everyone to be safe here no matter what happens tonight. I just wanted to show you, we're now closer into those tents and where the canopies are. Look at all of these supplies. When the people are telling us that they're prepared for the long run in here, I mean, look at all this water that they've brought in, all this food. They were prepared to stay, and they are prepared to stay. And, like we've repeated, like they have told us so many times today, they are not going anywhere until the university meets those demands. Now, will they stay here tonight? What will happen with police? Are police coming in? How soon until police come in? That's still unclear. But as you saw, people are locking arms now. Still a large group out on the sidewalk. A much smaller group here, though, by the tents and canopies. And we have seen, some of that graffiti by the ASU sign, Free Palestine, written in red. There's also a projection now up on one of the buildings. We can get a shot of it. Ceasefire, you might be able to see there on one of the buildings. But you're taking a live look here on the ASU campus in Tempe.
Kyle, we want to make sure that you and Nick are safe.
You can see them marching in.
If you need to move to get
Absolutely.
out of the way, please do so.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let's see. Like I said, several dozen of them. It's hard to count how many, but they probably will form some type of line. Again, they just gave protesters a second warning about 5 minutes ago on the loudspeaker, calling this an unlawful assembly, telling them they have to leave. They were told to disperse by 11 p.m. And obviously it's well past 11 now, at 11:52. But this is really the biggest movement we've seen so far since police have been out here this evening, at least. So, Jonathan, we hope everyone is going to be safe here. Police doesn't appear that they're going to be moving or leaving until this crowd is dispersed. We see some with batons and looks like some less lethal rounds. And again, you're taking a live look at Alumni Field here at Arizona State University, where a pro-Palestinian protest has been declared unlawful. Tempe, ASU police, and state troopers now moving in, at least to the Alumni Field.
All right, let's go back now live to 12 News journalist Kyle Simchuk at ASU tonight. Kyle, what do you know?
Well, they're starting to move in, Jonathan. They are kind of in a line going through with flashlights, looking in tents, picking up tents. I don't know if they're going to start taking down, as you can see, they're kind of kicking around that tent, and looks like they're just going to work their way up through this group. Yeah, they're hauling away tents there. As you can see, they're taking them down, clearing this area.
Are they
and still a lot of people standing.
We just saw somebody in that tent, Kyle. Is that person being taken into custody? It looks like that person. Okay, it looks like
it does appear so.
Looks like that person is being taken into custody. Okay. Again, this is a live scene unfolding tonight on the campus of ASU in Tempe. In just the last few minutes, police in riot gear have now started to disperse, go onto the campus after this was declared an unlawful assembly, and have now started removing people from this area in front of Old Main on the campus in Tempe tonight. We are now at midnight, Saturday morning here on 12 News. You are watching live breaking news coverage of the protests on the campus of Arizona State University in Tempe. In the last few minutes, officers in riot gear have now moved in and started removing protesters and demonstrators off the campus after a very long day so far. Before now, 3 other people had been arrested. That's all. 3 other people have been arrested. We now know many more are likely coming tonight. In the last hour, ASU declared this an unlawful assembly, told people to disperse off the campus. That's when we started seeing a number of law enforcement agencies starting to come in, and this is the end result of it. Now they have gone in. They are going literally inch by inch of this encampment. It appears that they are taking away tents. They are clearing the scene out, and they are arresting people who are still there that are in their way. We just saw a man a second ago who was inside of one of those tents being hauled off by law enforcement agencies, and now we see them taking off or tearing down and breaking down these tents, these canopies that were all set up by demonstrators who said that they were going to be here for days, vowed to be here for days until the university met their demands and revealed information about their business dealings with Israeli countries. But as you can see, a much different scene in the last 5 minutes or so, as officers have now swarmed this area, swarmed this campus, and have now started to move in and disperse and start to tear down this encampment, break down these canopies and other items, tents and other items that were set up earlier today by these demonstrators. 12 News journalist Kyle Simchuk is live in Tempe on the campus of ASU. 12 News photojournalist Nick Perez is providing us these live images tonight of the scene that is unfolding in Tempe. This is an overhead view to the left side of your screen. This is on the right is a live picture on the ground of the scene that is unfolding tonight. As you can see, things starting to intensify and beginning to escalate as that line of folks who were chained together. It appears that troopers have now moved in and started to break up that line, and it does appear that as soon as they do, they are going to begin arresting even more people. So far, we have not seen any other people taken into custody. We saw that one gentleman taken out of that tent just a few moments ago as he was led away. But so far, we have not seen anybody else who has been cuffed or had their hands tied, zip tied behind their backs as troopers have continued to move in. But we have seen them moving a number of tents. We've seen them break down a number of items, a number of structures, those canopies as well. Okay, we are watching troopers arrest, take another person into custody as well. Again, this is the scene unfolding tonight on the campus of Arizona State University in Tempe. At the top of the hour, we did see law enforcement officers from a number of agencies move in and begin dispersing, removing these protesters, these demonstrators off the campus. We want to go back live now to 12 News journalist Kyle Simchuk, who is on the ground there on the campus with the very latest. Kyle?
Well, yeah, Jonathan, they are still making their way through this crowd. They haven't gotten to the thick of the crowd yet, which is a few dozen people, but they are going through, taking down tents. We've seen several people zip-tied and arrested, hauled away from the scene. It appears ASU, perhaps like a maintenance crew or something, they have brought in a truck and they're just loading all of this stuff into it, tents, bottles of water, food, anything that has been left behind as they go through. But they're only about a quarter of the way through this protest so far and still have a lot of tents to remove, and people are still in here. Still a lot of people to deal with.
If you're joining us right now, you're watching live breaking news coverage right here on 12 News at 12:18 Saturday morning of a protest that has now been declared an unlawful assembly on the campus of Arizona State University in Tempe tonight. We have watched a number of people being taken into custody as law enforcement agencies swarmed the campus about 10 o'clock tonight. We started getting word about this. 11 o'clock they started rolling in. And at around 11 o'clock tonight, is when those law enforcement officers were.
But you can see this line here, and they're moving forward again and telling us to move back, which we are. Maybe about a dozen people still locking arms here that they have to work with, but I'd say about 60% of this field has been cleared out. You see troopers do this. They go in, they take some people, and then they move back. And as they move forward, university employees are clearing up tents, debris, garbage, and a lot of food.
Shortly after, 3 people were arrested for setting up an illegal encampment, which is not allowed apparently on the ASU campus.
We had Jonathan now 1:25 in the morning on this early Saturday morning, and protesters still here, just about a dozen of them, still locking arms. We've seen troopers do what they've been doing for the last hour, which is they'll advance forward, they'll unpry or grab a few people, bring them back, zip tie them, and then haul them to a bus that's waiting just about a block away.
Here's how we're going to set this up. On the left side of your screen is the area, a bus that Kyle Simchuk has been telling us about where these demonstrators are being taken to be processed after they are taken into custody. That is on the left side of your screen. 12 News photojournalist Garrett Wickman bringing us these live images from college and university. Leah Schwartz and Kyle Simchuk on the campus of ASU right now in front of Old Main along the alumni lawn. We want to take you back to this scene along College and University. This is the area where demonstrators taken into custody are brought. This is where they're being processed to learn more about exactly who they are. Again, we have not received an official number on how many people have been taken into custody. We are still awaiting more information from Arizona State University and law enforcement about the exact number of people who have been taken into custody. But this is the area that they have been taken to be processed after being detained by troopers as part of these demonstrations, as part of this unlawful assembly that was declared at around at 11 o'clock tonight after a day of protesting on the campus of ASU in Tempe earlier today. This video, or this live shot, courtesy of 12 News photojournalist Garrett Wickman, who joined our team coverage as we've been bringing you updates and bringing you the very latest on the scene that has been unfolding in Tempe for the last nearly 3 hours now. We first got word of this right after 12 News at 10 o'clock, as I was telling you guys earlier. As soon as I left the set with Caribe, I went upstairs to the newsroom like I normally do every single night. Our producer, Andrew Onadera, said, "There's something happening in Tempe. We're watching troopers come in. We're watching law enforcement come in." And we made the decision that we were going to go on air to bring you the very latest in case something, even if they do remove us, we're going to be back. So if that is indeed true, it will be very interesting to see exactly in what form those demonstrations will take place on the campus of Arizona State University later on today, I would say, because it is now Saturday morning as we approach 2 o'clock in the morning here on 12 News. You've been looking at breaking news coverage tonight of an unlawful assembly declared on the campus of Arizona State University.
Good morning. Thank you for waking up with us right here on 12 News today in AZ. I'm Trisha Hendricks.
I'm Jonathan McCall. 12 News, the only station bringing you live, complete coverage as that scene unfolded on the campus of ASU in Tempe overnight. We were on air for nearly 3 hours up until 2 o'clock in the morning, bringing you that coverage. Our live coverage continues this morning right now.
12 News journalist Justin Pizarro is joining us live from a much quieter Tempe campus. And Justin, what have we learned overnight?
Well, good morning. We are waiting to hear the official number on how many people have been arrested. We did hear from an officer on scene here. He told one of our photographers that he estimates about 75 people were arrested. But again, we're waiting to get that official word. But I do want to show you what the campus looks like this morning. This whole lawn is surrounded by the barricade, but man, what a difference just a few hours make. There's actually seniors on the lawn this morning, several of them taking their senior photos. So just to kind of give you just a different reference on how drastically things have changed. This all started yesterday morning, though, around 8 o'clock when this group started forming on Alumni Lawn. This is one of the main focal points of the university. The group came in with Palestinian flags and signs, food, plenty of water and tents. They were here for the long haul. They're demanding ASU publicly condemn the violence in the Gaza Strip. That's one of the main points. But they also want the university to disclose and stop any investments it has with Israeli companies. They're also calling for the school's president, Michael Crow, to resign. At this point, ASU has not released any statements regarding the protest or the university's president stepping down.
Good evening. We start tonight with a live view of Old Main at ASU's Tempe campus right now. As you can see, the area is blocked off and completely clear right now from tents and protesters after pro-Palestinian protesters took over this area and refused to leave on Friday. Tonight, we know at least 69 people were arrested early Saturday for trespassing after setting up what the university called unauthorized encampments. Our 12 News cameras were there on the ground rolling as DPS troopers and both ASU and Tempe police tore down that encampment and took protesters into custody. Thanks for joining us tonight on 12 News at 6. I'm William Pitts in for Jonathan McCall. Right now, police are on guard and barricades remain in place, as you saw on ASU's campus, following a night of unrest with pro-Palestinian protesters refusing to leave campus until their demands were met. 12 News journalist Trisha Hendricks breaks down the tense sequence of events that unfolded all the way from Friday morning to the early morning hours today.
At 8:45 Friday morning, pro-Palestinian protesters started gathering in front of ASU's Old Main in Tempe, vowing to stay put, even bringing in pallets of food and water and pitching tents.
Do not speak to the cops.
There's a Holocaust currently happening in Palestine, and we're out here trying to bring attention to that.
Protesters demanded a public list of any ASU investments and for ASU to divest itself from any Israeli company. Some protesters also calling for the resignation of ASU President Michael Crow and the abolition of the ASU and Tempe police departments. At 9:09 a.m., this cell phone video shows police arresting one of 3 people charged with criminal trespassing. By 9:13 a.m., police moved in, tearing down tents, saying the lawn is reserved space and tents were not allowed. At 10:15, a few counter-protesters showed up with Israeli flags.
These last 7 months-ish have been extremely aggressive. I have not felt the same safety.
5 minutes later, police demanded protesters leave or get arrested. For hours, the situation remained calm. At 4:23 p.m., protesters were seen linking arms. By 4:43, police were working to separate pro-Palestinian protesters and Israeli protesters. By 10 p.m., the protest was stretching into its 14th hour.
We're not taking down our tents.
Police tried to take the tents down, but protesters responded by putting up even more.
They have also only wanted to negotiate with only student government.
At 11:15, officers and DPS troopers arrive in riot gear. At midnight, they begin to clear empty tents and detain protesters. The sweep began after law enforcement declared the protests an unlawful assembly. 12 News capturing video of protesters being walked away with their hands zip-tied behind their back. Police took them to a bus parked on College Avenue that they used as a processing station. At 1:45 Saturday morning, police broke up the final group of protesters. By 6:30 a.m., very few officers were seen near Old Main, but the barricades remain in place. ASU police reported a total of 69 arrests for trespassing after setting up an unauthorized encampment in violation of university policy. Trisha Hendricks, 12 News.
And the university says demonstrations, protests, and expressions of free speech are protected at ASU, but demonstrations, they say, cannot disrupt campus operations. The school says lawful demonstrations can take place except overnight between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. And tonight, new flyers shared via social media are asking protesters to show up for a rally on the lawn of Gamage Auditorium, just a few blocks away from Old Main, where the arrest happened last night. 12 News journalist Jade Cunningham tracking this new protest. And Jade, what are you seeing out there right now?
Good evening, Will. So yeah, we are here at ASU at Gamage Auditorium, where about an hour ago another pro-Palestinian rally began. You can actually see the crowd here. At least 50 people, if not more, are gathered here on the grass. Many protesters here telling us that they will not back down. They will continue to stand up for what they believe in. So
thank you for watching. Get 12 News in your neighborhood with the Near Me feature on the 12 News app.